Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rafe with the Prospect Park Alliance here at the Lefferts Historic House as part of our month-long partnership with caribBEING. Today, I'm excited to introduce the wonderful Tammy Hall here to tell us all stories from the Caribbean.
Hey, everybody! Happy, beautiful day. I love the Caribbean. I go there often. I love the blue skies, the water, the great food. But today I want to talk to you about the folklore of the Caribbean. You see, the folklore of the Caribbean embraces a spectrum of spicy flavors from all over the world. That's because the people of the Caribbean come from all over the world. In addition to the native Taino, Arawaks, Caribs, Guanahatabes, there are people there from Africa, India, France, England, Spain, Syria, China, Venezuela, and other parts of South America. And so the folklore naturally is a vibrant mesh of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful colors and spices like the food. It's unique in figure, language, and form. I want to talk to you about Anansi the Spider. Yeah, I know you know who he is. Better watch your food. He's greedy and he's tricky and he's always up to something. Now, the Anansi spiders came over from Africa over 400 years ago. And originally, Anansi was a man. Oh, yes. The original Spider-Man was of African origin. Didn't know that, did you? But over the years, the story just became spider stories. But like he was in Africa, wherever he goes, especially in the Caribbean, Anansi is a tricky fella. This time, Anansi decided that he wanted all the common sense in the world to belong to him. Because if he had all the common sense, everyone would have to come to him for their problems, their concerns, their dreams, and their wishes. And so when they came to him for advice, he could charge them a lot of money, and he could have a lot of power. So Anansi got a huge calabash, and he commenced to going all around the world, collecting up all the common sense he could find. And when he was sure he had all of it, he decided he would hang it in the top of a high tree so no one could get to his common sense except himself. So he took the calabash, he tied a rope around it. The two ends of the rope he tied around his neck. And so the calabash hung on his belly, and he commenced to climb the tree. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. The calabash is banging. He's having a difficult time getting up the tree. Every time he'd get halfway up, he'd have to come back down. He was afraid he'd lose his common sense. All of a sudden, at the base of the tree, he hears a noise. He said, "Who is that?" Looks down, sees this little boy, maybe a little younger than you, laughing up a storm. He said, "You such a foolish man. Why don't you hang the calabash on your back if it's getting in your way? And then you can climb up the tree." Anansi was so angry that this little boy had such a big piece of common sense. When he thought he had collected all of it, he got so angry, he started bashing the calabash and breaking it up into pieces. Bam, 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 bam. And when he did that, the wind took up the common sense and blew it all over the world. And everybody got a little bit. Nobody got it all. Some got none. But everybody got a little taste of common sense. And that is how common sense came into the world. Thank you, Anansi. And thank you for that bit of common sense. And that's the end of that. How about another one? Now, how about we go over to Puerto Rico? Maybe you have heard of Juan Bobo, Silly John. Oh yes, Juan Bobo was some character. Juan Bobo was 45 years old and he still lived with his mama. And every day, Juan Bobo's mama would say, "Juan Bobo, levántate, get up." But Juan Bobo was lazy. He didn't like to work. All he liked to do was eat. Eat and sleep. Sleep and eat. Eat and sleep. That's all he liked to do. But Juan Bobo's mother would get so upset at him, she'd go close to his ear in his bedroom and she'd go, "Ay, ay, 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 ay!" That's how he would get out of the bed, 4 to 5 years old. Can you imagine that? So this one particular morning, Juan Bobo's mama needed him to do her a favor. She had this big pot, great big pot that sat on 3 legs. Whenever the people had a big festival or they wanted to cook a big bash of something, they'd have this big iron pot and they would put fire underneath it outside, kind of like we were cooking here a little while ago here at Lefferts' house. And she would cook a big bash of whatever. But Juan Bobo's mother had borrowed her pot and she needed her pot. So she told Juan Bobo to go to the auntie's house and get her big pot. Of course, Juan Bobo didn't want to go. And of course, his mother went close to his ear and said, "Ay, ay, 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 ay. Okay, mommy, okay, mommy, I'm going." So Juan Bobo had to go to the auntie's house, had to go up a big hill, down a big hill, and got to the auntie's house. So Juan Bobo's auntie gave him the pot, but the pot was so heavy, and Juan Bobo was so lazy. He decided he would tie a rope around the pot and he would drag the pot. Of course, he had to go up this big hill. So he's dragging the pot. He's dragging the pot. He's dragging the pot. He gets to the top of the hill and he decides to rest. And then he looked at the pot. He said, la olla vaga, which means lazy pot. Tú tienes 3 piernas. You have 3 legs. I only have 2. It looks to me you can walk yourself better than I can walk you. The pot just sat there and stared at Juan Bobo. Juan Bobo stared back. The pot stared some more. Juan Bobo stared some more. And that pot didn't move. Juan Bobo said, "Oh, okay. You don't want to walk? Stay here. I'm going home. Yo tengo hambre. I'm hungry." So Juan Bobo got up, walked down the hill. Mommy can see that Juan Bobo is coming, but she sees he does not have the pot. She's waiting. "Juan Bobo." "Yes, mommy." "¿Dónde está la olla grande? Where is my big pot?" Juan Bobo said, "Mommy, la olla grande, la olla vaga, lazy pot, has 3 piernas. Yo tengo 2. It can walk itself." Ooh, that made Juan Bobo's mother so angry. She said, "Juan Bobo, if you don't get back up that hill and get my pot, you better." Juan Bobo said, "Oh, okay, mommy." Juan Bobo went back up the hill. But he didn't always listen to his mother. He says, la olla vaga, you think you're stubborn? I'll show you stubborn. If you're not going to move, I'm not going to move." And Juan Bobo sat down, folded his arms, and stared at the pot. And the pot stared back. Juan Bobo stared some more. So did the pot. The pot never did move, neither did Juan Bobo. They tell me that if you go to Puerto Rico, if you go way down in the country where there's a high hill, there is an old rusted 3-legged pot on the hill and a very old man sitting there, crisscross applesauce with his legs, like you kids do in school. He is very, very, very old. Long white hair, long fingernails, long toenails sticking out of his shoes. He's old as dirt. They say it's Juan Bobo, and that he has been sitting on that hill from that day to this. I don't really know. That's what they say. And that's the end of Juan Bobo and La Olla Vaga. If you're up for one more, I do have one more. But I want to tell you about this little man that loved to make callaloo. Now, callaloo is kind of like spinach, but you have to spice it up really good. I think people put a little okra in it, maybe a little coconut milk, a little garlic and onion and other kind of seasoning, maybe a little pepper, and you cook it up in a pot, and it's really, really good. Then you can serve it over some rice or some mac and cheese or something. It's delicious. Well, this little man loved to make his callaloo. Every Sunday afternoon, he'd make his big pot of callaloo. Well, Mosquito said, I could use some callaloo. So here we go. The man is making his callaloo. Here comes Mosquito. The little poem goes like this. Mosquito 1, mosquito 2. Mosquito jumped in the hot Callaloo. Well, that made that man angry. Mosquito, get out of my pot! Get out of my pot! So Mosquito jumped out of the pot, but Mosquito was not happy. Mosquito 3, mosquito 4. Mosquito beat on the old man door. The man goes to the door. Mosquito, get away from my door! You're not getting my Callaloo. Stop beating on my door. Mosquito went away, but he was not happy. Mosquito 5, mosquito 6. Mosquito beat the old man with sticks. He's beating the little old man. Mosquito! Mosquito! I don't care how you beat me. Stay away from my door, and you're not getting my Callaloo. Mosquito still was not pleased. Mosquito 7, mosquito 8. Mosquito opened the old man gate. That was a problem because all the chickens flew out of the man's yard. Mosquito! Mosquito! Why do you let all my chickens out? Oh, what am I going to do? Mosquito, get away from here! Get away from here! Well, he didn't stop there. Mosquito 9, mosquito 10. Mosquito tickled the old man hand. And that's the end of that. That's corny, right? You guys can clap if you want to.
Oh, great.
I have a great chef here who was offering us up some wonderful codfish cakes with all those spicy flavors, just like I said, like the stories of the Caribbean, full of spice, full of joy, full of wisdom. So research your own, tell your own, and enjoy them. So when you travel to the Caribbean islands, some of you are from the Caribbean, you know what I'm talking about. And have a great time with it. So how are we doing? We up for some more stories, guys? Can we do one more?
Yes.
All right, you don't mind? Aw, yay. Well, let's see. Let's go to Cuba for a minute. There was a man there in Cuba named El Barizon. Now, El Barizon was a wanderer. He would wander here, he'd wander there, more there than here. He was a restless fellow, always looking for something to do. That's how he kind of, made his living. That's how he ate. That's how he slept. So someone told El Barizon, that the devil needed a handyman at his farm. They said, but be careful, because the last 2 handymen that went there never came back. El Barizon said, I'm not afraid of any old devil. And so he went to the devil's house. He knocked on the door. Guess who should open the door? The devil himself. Hello, El Barizon. He knew El Barizon's name. El Barizon said, hey, devil, I hear you're looking for a handyman. Yes, but I have work for 6 men. You are only 1. El Barizon says, oh, please, I could do the work of 6 men, but, at least for 3. So the devil says, come on in. He showed El Barizon where to sleep. He said, tomorrow I'll give you your chores. Well, the next morning, when El Barizon got up, the devil said, I want you to go and fetch me some water from the river. El Barizon said, no problem. I'll need a pitchfork and a shovel. Well, he took the things. The devil was curious, what does he need with those things? Because El Barizon decided to build a canal from the river to the devil's house. So when the devil came and saw what he was doing, he says, what are you doing? I want water, not a ditch. El Barizon said, no, you have water. You see, the canal goes straight to your house. You will never have to fetch water again. That kind of scared the devil, because this man was a thinker and he was smart. That made the devil uneasy. He didn't like that too much. He said, ooh, I have to watch this fellow. So the next morning, the devil told El Barizon that he wanted him to cut some wood for him, go to the forest. El Barizon said, okay, no problem, but I'll need a long piece of rope. Rope? The devil said, oh, whatever. He gave him the rope. El Barizon tied the rope to one tree and wrapped the rope around the entire forest. Now he had all the wood. He tied up the rope, had the rope over his shoulder. When the devil came and saw what he was doing, he said, what are you doing? He says, devil, you wanted wood? Now you have the entire forest. All I have to do is throw it over my shoulder and take it to your house. Devil said, no, that's okay. That won't fit in my house. And that made him kind of scared of El Bordezon. He said, this man is strong too. Well, I don't think I like him too much. Well, El Bordezon kept doing all kinds of strange things that scared the devil. So finally the devil said, you have to go. I don't need any more help. Take this donkey and take these riches, bags and bags of riches. Just go. Just go. Just leave me alone. Scared the devil half to death. So El Bordezon is riding on his donkey, just as happy as a lark. He had fooled the devil. But then the wife of the devil said, you are so foolish. Don't you realize El Bordezon has been tricking you all this time? You better go get your money. The devil says, you're right. He got his horse and he started galloping down the lane. Well, far down the lane, El Bordezon saw the dust, so he knew the devil was coming after him. So he took his donkey, led him into the cornfield, and told the donkey to lay low. El Bordezon then lay in the road and stuck his feet straight up towards the sky, just laying there. The devil came. El Bordezon, what are you doing? He forgot all about his money. What are you doing? Oh, I'm waiting for my donkey to come down from the sky. He got on my nerves and I kicked him so far, he went way up into the air. But the devil is looking for the donkey? I don't see any donkey. Oh, that's how far I kicked him. But he'll be back. So what are you doing now? When he comes back, I have my legs up so I can break his fall. I don't want to hurt him. I'm going to need him later on. That scared the devil so badly. The devil says, I'm out of here. And the devil jumped on his horse and rode away, never to be seen again. El Bordezon got up. He laughed. Come on, donkey. Donkey said, hee-haw. El Bordezon got on the donkey. They went down the road, and El Bordezon lived happily and richly ever after. And that's a crazy little tale from Cuba. And that's the end of that. Storytellers say I put my hand in the wind. When my hand bid, my story done end. Let's go back to Anansi the Spider. I really love the Anansi stories because they are all over the world, just like the people of Africa all over the world. Anansi, as you know, is very greedy. Now, Anansi loved something very much. He loved vegetable stew. Anansi ate so much vegetable stew that there was hardly any stew left for his wife and his 20 children. So Anansi's wife said, Anansi, I am going to put you on a diet. From now on, you get 1 bowl of vegetable stew a day. 1 bowl, that's it. Oh, wife, you know how I love vegetable stew. I love it more than anything in the world, besides you and the children, of course. She goes, I don't want to hear the nonsense. 1 bowl, that's it. Nancy's little tricky mind started working. How was he going to get himself more vegetable stew? So he thought and thought and thought. He started walking out into the forest, moaning. Well, all of the little insect friends came running to him. Anansi, what in the world is the matter with you? Anansi said, oh, I'm sick. And the witch doctor says I will soon die. And my friends, when I die, will you bury me with my favorite thing? I said, sure, Anansi, we'll do that for you. You see, Anansi had tricked all of them at some point or another. But he was a lovable fellow, and they liked him, so they always forgave him. They said, sure, Anansi, what do you want? He said, well, when I die, will you bury me with my favorite thing? You know what his favorite thing was? Vegetable stew. They said, sure, Anansi. Well, the next night, Anansi is sitting at the table with his wife and 20 children, and after he'd eaten his 1 bowl of vegetable stew, he began to pretend that he was choking. Fell over on the floor and pretended to be dead. His wife cried, oh, my husband is dead. My husband is dead. What am I going to do with all these children? by myself. And the children were crying, "Oh, Daddy is dead! Daddy is dead!" The little legs just a-wiggling. All the while, Anansi was lying on the floor with his hands over his eyes saying, he was not even dead. Well, the next day, they had a big funeral. And in the African tradition, they cut a big hole in the ground and they lined the hole with shelves. And they wrapped Anansi in a little blanket, kind of like a little mummy, and lay him on a little table down in this big old hole. And they lined the shelves with bowls and calabashes full of, you guessed it, vegetable stew. Now, also in the African tradition, no dirt was to be placed into the grave for at least 100 days. So all they did was cover the grave with big banana leaves and left Anansi there to rest in peace. Or so they thought. That night, when all the world was quiet, Anansi wriggled out of his burial clothes. He sat up. He went over to the shelf, took down a bowl of vegetable stew, and he ate and ate and ate, and he licked the bowl. He took down another bowl, and he ate and ate and ate, and he licked the bowl. Anansi ate all night long and slept the whole next day. Every night, Anansi would eat the vegetable stew, till after 4 nights, he had eaten up all the stew. He had nothing else left. He began to get very, very hungry. Remember, he had 96 more days to be down there in that grave before anybody would come back. So Anansi knew he had to find some food. So that night, Anansi crept to the edge of his grave. He pushed back the leaves. He didn't see anybody. So he went walking in search of food. The first thing he saw was his wife's vegetable garden. And so he began to steal whatever he could find, tomatoes, onions, peas, carrots, whatever. He would take the food back down to his grave, and he ate all night long. Every night, Anansi would go and raid his wife's vegetable garden and eat up whatever he could and sleep the whole day. Well, the wife began to notice, there's a thief that invades my garden. He's stealing the food from me and my children. I will catch this thief. So the wife went to her tool shed and got her things. She went to the garden and she started working. When she finished, she had a scarecrow. Oh yes, straw hair, hat, big old white buttons for eyes, a comb she turned upside down for a smiling mouth. Then she did one more thing. She took a big jug of molasses, kind of like honey, but very dark and very sweet. And she poured it all over that scarecrow, and she let it get nice and sticky in the sun. She said, "Aha! Tonight I catch me a thief." Well, that night, here comes Anansi to the garden. The scarecrow is standing there in the moonlight. Anansi thinks it's a man. He thinks it's a thief like himself. Anansi comes up there. He says to the scarecrow, "You there. You better get out of my wife's garden right now." And the scarecrow only said, and that made Anansi angry. Anansi said, "You better answer me now, or I'm going to work you over with all my 8 legs and my head too." Scarecrow only said, oh, Anansi got so angry, he started punching the scarecrow. Boom, 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 bam. Uh-oh. Remember I told you that molasses was sticky. Anansi's head, all 8 legs, stuck to the scarecrow. Anansi twisted and turned and twisted and yelled and cried and prayed, but he could not get loose from that scarecrow. He had to spend the entire night out there in the garden with the dew falling on him and the other insects teasing him and biting him. Well, the next morning, Anansi's wife got up early. She goes, "Oh, let me see if I caught my thief." She heads out to the garden. In the distance, she sees something struggling on the scarecrow. So, when she gets closer and she sees who it is. Anansi! Anansi! How could you, Anansi? How could you steal food from your own family? She was so angry. She took Anansi before the judge of all the animals, King Lion. King Lion said, "Anansi, for pretending to be dead, for stealing food from your own family, for lying to everybody, I sentence you to hang for 2 weeks in the corners with nothing to eat. Anansi had to climb up in the corner, build a web, and hang. After about a week or so, Anansi got really hungry. And one day, Sister Butterfly came by. She said, "Oh, Anansi, poor Anansi." Anansi's eyes got wide. He started licking his lip. Yes, poor Sister Butterfly. Sister Butterfly said, "Anansi, why are you looking at me like that too late?" He sucked down Sister Butterfly and ate her up whole. He said, "He was delicious." Next day, Cousin Roach come by. "Anansi, poor Anansi." Yes, poor Cousin Roach. He ate down Cousin Roach. Brother Worm ate him down. Auntie Mosquito ate her down. Every insect that came by and spoke to Anansi ended up inside Anansi, digesting. And that's how he lived for the 2 weeks. Well, the 2 weeks were up. The sentence was over. The judge said that Anansi could come down out of the corners and that he could eat again. In celebration, his wife made a big bowl of vegetable stew. And she scooped up some and offered it to Anansi. He said, "Oh, no thank you, wife. I'll eat what I have here in my pocket." She said, "Anansi, what do you have in your pocket?" Anansi pulled out a little slender moth and gave it to her. She said, "That's delicious, husband. Do you have any more?" He said, "Sure, wife." Anansi pulled out 2 handfuls of the strangest insects your eyes and my eyes have ever seen. And the mother called the children, "Children, come here and see what Papa has." Well, all the children came running. "What Papa has? What Papa has?" Anansi put all of his children around the table. He gave each of them their very own little insect. And they thought it was the best food they had ever eaten in their entire lives. And to this day, you won't find any spiders hanging around your mama's vegetable stew pot. But go home, look closely in the corners of your house. You just might see 1 or 2, or at least you will see where they have been. Because from that day to this, spiders build webs, hang in corners and other places, catch insects for their breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack time, enjoy them immensely. And that, my friends, is why spiders hang in corners. And Anansi tell. Now this time for real, storytellers say, "I put my hand in the wind, but my hand bend, my stories done end." I am storyteller Tammy Hall. I'm always happy to tell to you. I hope I get that opportunity again very soon. Peace, everybody, and love.